Hi, I'm Cameron Earley from NG Farr Real Estate, and I'm here with local legend and Canterbury Bankstown champion, Reni Maitua. How are you, Reni?
Cam, good to see you, mate.
You too, buddy. Thanks for joining us today. Mate, we're sitting here at Kenzo Oval, where obviously it all started for you back in 88, I think it might have been, or 89?
87, 88.
87,
I think it
88.
was. Yeah, we were quite young.
As I've said, under 5, under 6-year-old at Kenzo Oval, tearing it up. Mate, obviously it all started here at Kenzo Oval. What primary school did you go to?
Mate, I started at Rainbow Street. I was there for a couple of years, and then we moved to Daceyville, so I moved on to Daceyville Public. Mm-hmm. So I've always been in the area. I've lived close to Kenzo Oval, where we are right now.
Sure.
So,
and then obviously after that, high school went to?
Yeah, went to Marcelin. I wasn't a Catholic boy. I didn't grow up in the church. I went there purely for rugby league. Braith, a good friend of ours was there, and I was there till year 10 and decided that school wasn't for me, and went to South Sydney High. So transitioning from an all-boys school to a co-ed school was quite the experience.
It would have been an eye-opener, that's for sure, I would imagine. Now, obviously, after finishing school, you were still very much playing football, and you got graded by Canterbury Bankstown. What year was that, and what were the feelings like when you made your debut?
Yeah, I mean, I gave footy away actually for a little while there. It's like under 16s, 17s. I stepped away from Matthews and SG Ball, and I think I was doing my first year of my apprenticeship as a plumber, and I knew that probably in the first week that wasn't for me, and Braith was playing first grade at the time, and that's when I picked the footy back up again, played flag with South. Unfortunately, there was no first grade side at the time, and throughout the year I just so happened to have a game where the Bulldogs scout was there, and they obviously knew Braith and asked questions, and South came back into the competition actually, and Craig Coleman rang me at TAFE and said, "Reni, we've got a full-time contract here for you." And I said, "Sorry, Tugger, I just signed with the Bulldogs," and he hung up on me. So it was, look, at that point in my career, I knew I wasn't ready for a full-time squad. I knocked back a lot of money, and I thought having the opportunity to go to a club that was doing quite well, quite successful, was probably the best foot forward for me, and it did pay off. To answer your question, 2 years later, I got to make my debut. I still remember being in the dressing room before the game. We were playing Parramatta round 1, and I was sitting opposite Braith, and it was quite strange. It just come full circle from being under 5, under 6-year-olds playing against each other, and now we're playing. I was playing my debut game with him in 2004.
And then, Reni, less than 12 months later, you knocked the chooks off him on the comp.
Yeah, it was quite the year. I think it was just a perfect timing for me. Obviously, there's a lot of players that go through their career. Andrew Eddinghausen comes to mind, never won a premiership, and the stars just aligned. We had a perfect balance in that team of experienced players and young, hungry players that had no fear basically. You had Sonny Bill, Willie Tonga, Jonathan Thurston, Roy Esatasi. So
team full of superstars.
It was just, everything just aligned perfectly for me. And the next few years after that were quite enjoyable.
Yeah, fantastic. And you're very lucky that you're one of the few people who've had the honour and the pleasure of representing two nations. Obviously, you've played for your country, Australia, and you've also represented Samoa, obviously, which is a big heritage for you. Pretty special to be able to do both.
Yeah, the 06 was very strange. The strange thing is it wasn't strange for people that know me. I was out on the drink for about 3 days, and Mum rang me and said, "You better hurry up and get home. I've just had a call from the Bulldogs. You're getting picked in the Australian team." So I left the courthouse, I think, and with our good mate Sparkles.
Sure.
And,
yes, we know Sparkles.
We sat by the radio, and I didn't get picked in the side. And I thought Mum was stitching me up, and I was pissed off. So I went straight back to the pub. Ricky Stewart rang the club and said, "Look, at the final moment, we decided to go with Tony Carroll," and I thought, well, it's not a bad player to get knocked off out of the squad by. And then the next day they went into camp, and Tunza pulled out through injury, and I got a call, and I had to sober up and go straight back into camp. So I put a brave face on at the SFS. I had to do a media scrum with about 30 people. I was still blind drunk, and then Ricky Stewart made us do a fitness session. So representing Australia was a huge honour. Unfortunately, I got injured in the 78th minute of the first test. Yeah, I broke my ankle. in the first test, and like I said, in the 78th minute, and that was my one and only test for Australia. I think I could have strung a few together.
For sure.
But playing for Samoa was a different kind of experience. Obviously being born here, I'm very proud Australian, but you always want to know what your heritage is and where your bloodline is. And Dad was the one that brought me down here at Kenzo Oval as a 5-year-old to play rugby league, and he was the one that loved rugby union actually, and he was a massive Rooster supporter. So to put the Samoan jersey on and learn the national anthem and do the Civital, which is the haka.
Sure.
It was pretty special. Both jerseys were very special, but they were quite different experiences. So I'm very lucky.
Yeah, most definitely. And away from football, obviously everyone knows that you love the beach down at Maroubra, and you're a mad surfer. You're still surfing every day?
I am now. All throughout my career, I was too sore to surf.
Yeah, of course.
So the last few years, Sato and I got a healthy competition in the water. He likes to tell me how good he is. I feel like I'm slowly catching him. And that's, I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to go lift weights. I don't want to go for a run.
Yeah.
My exercise is in the water now, and that's the way we stay healthy and the way we stay fit. So, if I had it the other way around, I would have been a professional surfer, but unfortunately I wasn't good enough.
That's not a bad lifestyle either, being a professional surfer, that's for sure.
That's for sure. Travel the world and get paid for it.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. So Reni, I know your mum and dad had a massive influence and still do have a massive influence on your life. Apart from your parents, obviously, is there anyone in particular that you think's had a big influence on your life personally and professionally?
I think, look, mum and dad are the ones that have been the most supportive. Obviously, my family and my close friends. I think I've been probably my own influence on footy. I didn't want to, at an early age, I knew I didn't want to be a plumber, and I knew I could play footy. I was never really that passionate about footy. I didn't watch the game and think I wanted to play for Australia or play first grade. It was just something I knew I could do, and people have regrets, so I probably could have taken the game a lot more serious and established more in my career. I definitely could have played for New South Wales. Without sounding egotistic, I think I definitely was skillful enough to do it, but I was probably my own worst enemy off the field. So I think the influence was down to me in the end. I made choices that were detrimental to my career, and I made choices that were, very good and achieving, high stakes in the game. So I wouldn't say there was anyone in particular. I just, at the time, I wanted something that paid well, and I could do well.
Yeah, sure.
And plumbing wasn't the path, so I chose rugby league.
Well, mate, you definitely chose very well, I can say that for sure. Now, mate, in your opinion, best person you've played with or against in rugby league?
For me, Sonny Bill and Jonathan Thurston are the two best. I've played alongside both, but I've played against Jonathan, so definitely, them
Those
two.
And is there a teammate in any team or any sport you played for that you most enjoyed being around, that was just a bit of a scallywag, or someone that you really enjoyed going to training with?
I still enjoy being around him. It's Willie Mason. It's a pretty easy one.
He's a pretty quiet bloke.
Very quiet, shy. He really humble. Willie and I, out of everyone, we're still very close from the 04 side, but Willie is probably the main guy I spend most of my time with.
Nice.
It's good to see him be a father now and grow as a human, and he still has his own podcast and has a lot to say,
for sure,
to say the least.
Well, if you've got something to say, you may as well say it loudly and
it.
proudly. And final question, Reni, if you had the opportunity to be either a professional surfer or obviously a professional first grade player, is that an easy one for you to pick?
Well, judging by the way my body feels now and how many surgeries I probably need now, surfing definitely. I love footy, but if I had to choose as a 20-year-old between the life of a surfer and a footy player, I'd definitely be in the water and be a surfer.
Yeah, very nice. Reni, mate, appreciate you giving up your time today. Thanks very much.
Cheers.
Appreciate it, buddy.